Continues to own the offensive glass here in the fourth quarter.
Oh, you failed. Loser! I don't even play basketball and I would have made that shot. And even if I didn't make that shot, I'd have did something funny. You know, I'd have did something funny. Kate was like, hey, let's hold to the hoop code hand point.
There's 35% from three after a couple years in the 40s. Howard misses
Howard or Alicia Gray, I think Ryan Howard, airballs a shot to win the game late. It lands in Angel Reese's lap, and collectively the whole world said, yeah, she ain't making that. Collectively the whole world said, oh, Angel Reese has it? Oh, and it's a layup? Yeah, she's breaking that. And lo and behold, point blank range to win the game, we get a classic Angel Reese pray up.
Angel Reese had the opportunity to become the star of this matchup. Instead, she walked away looking like the joke of the entire night. This is not some overblown version of events. That is precisely how things unfolded between the Indiana Fever and Atlanta Dream. Once the closing buzzer finally echoed through the arena, Reese was certainly not enjoying the feeling of victory.
Clark laughing at Angel Reese after she missed a wide open layup for the win.
Quarter. Great board, just could not convert it.
was pushed under the hoop just enough to not have a great angle.
Under the basket, Angel Reese could only stand there holding her head as Caitlin Clark passed by with a smile, heading towards another impressive win. If you want to see why the tension between these two players continues to burn, this matchup lays out the whole story across 95 minutes of action. There were so many unexpected moments that even viewers who rarely watch the WNBA found themselves discussing the game the following morning.
Reese, you had me laughing at you, girl. I told you, Angel Reese is a pure bum, the worst kind. Angel Reese is the type to steal the trash off your curb and try to see if she can go put it in her refrigerator. The girl can't make a layup to save her life. She missed like 7 layups in the first quarter. Meanwhile, me, the GOAT, Caitlin Clark, I'm putting on shows every single night. 26 points, 9 assists. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever humiliate Angel Reese. Or maybe Angel Reese just humiliated herself, as the Indiana Fever go on to win. 29 points, 9 assists. Am I looking like her?
The moment the matchup became genuinely physical came from a sequence that had nothing to do with two rivals trading insults or looking for trouble. Instead, it began with Reese getting beaten defensively. In the opening quarter, Clark created space for a long-range pull-up, while Reese stayed attached to her, trying to make the contest as difficult as possible. Despite the tight pressure, Clark's attempt still dropped straight through the basket.
Because she was crap in this game. A bag of crap. She was awful. Angel Reese was terrible. Speaking of terrible, Angel Reese never beating the allegations. This was to open the game.
With Reese leaking out, finds her.
Lee Sheet. That was awful. Wow, that was awful. One more good time. It did a... Yeah. Yikes. Holy moly. Holy.
Those are the sequences that can slowly frustrate a defender, even when the audience barely notices what is happening. You stay disciplined on defense, you challenge the attempt from a solid position, yet somehow the shot still finds the bottom of the net. For someone like Reese, who takes pride in playing tough and making opponents uncomfortable, a possession like that can be especially irritating.
Clark laughing at Angel Reese for missing the game-winning layup! Helen Keller could have made the layup. It was the fucking second layup that she missed. She missed a wide open drive in the first quarter, and then she misses the game-winning layup. And then, of course, we have the halftime crew just glazing Angel Reese, making it seem like she's a better player than Kelsey Mitchell, making it seem like she's a better player than Caitlin Clark. And Angel Reese with the total brick of a three-pointer. No wonder why they left her wide open, misses the layup. And look of disappointment on both her coach and teammates' face when she missed the game-winning layup. At least Angel was honest at halftime with Holly. I was a little bit impressed by that, where she was like, hey, I am playing like shit right now. I really got to step it up. I will say she is good on defense. She's always good on defense. She's a rebound machine, but she shouldn't shoot the ball ball so much. This photo just like
Several possessions afterward, Ryan Howard launched a shot that missed, sending Reese and Clark both racing beneath the basket to chase down the rebound. During that scramble, Reese chose not to rely on ordinary positioning or simply establish herself with her body. Instead, she extended her forearm into Clark's neck, preventing her from reaching the loose ball. This was not merely a routine bump, nor was it accidental contact caused by both players leaping simultaneously and making contact while coming down. It was a distinct shove toward the neck, the sort of physical action that would usually draw an immediate whistle in another competitive situation. What made the sequence even harder to overlook was where it occurred. The players were not hidden inside a congested group or positioned somewhere officials might have struggled to see the contact. The incident unfolded right in front of two referees inside the paint, with clear visibility beneath the arena lights and multiple camera angles recording the entire sequence.
Howard misses that one, out of bounds, and it will be Indiana basketball. 4:10 to go in the first, and the Fever lead by 2.
Let's go to Angel Reese, clocking Caitlin Clark right in the throat hole.
With just 35.
Right here, you're going to watch. There she gets her in the neck, and there she gets her in the throat. Yeah. What are we doing? Neck, throat.
Clark instantly faced the officials, spreading her arms wide as if demanding an explanation for the missed call. From the television angle, the contact looked obvious. While both players battled beneath the basket, Clark took contact directly around her neck, the kind of play that would normally be called a foul at virtually any level of organized basketball. Yet the officials allowed everything to continue. There was no whistle, no stoppage for a closer look, and absolutely no review afterward. Reese escaped without being penalized, and her reaction suggested she already knew the officials were letting it go because she never turned around to see whether a foul had been called. Instead, she simply continued with the possession and headed toward the other end of the court, carrying the same calm look someone might have after completing an ordinary defensive rebound.
Look at how she hit Caitlin in the neck. Look, watch this. First time, look, second time. Bro, like, what are we doing? And then the refs act like they didn't see it. Like, bro, the ref.
Social media erupted almost instantly, and most of the response was heavily critical of Reese. Within only a few minutes, videos showing the contact were circulating everywhere online, collecting hundreds of thousands of views before the first half had even ended. Even supporters who usually avoid taking sides in this rivalry, preferring to focus strictly on the basketball itself, struggled to justify the play they had just witnessed. One viewer summed up the criticism bluntly, arguing that Reese does not look like a true rebounder when proper positioning and technique are required, claiming that she resorts to grabbing and pushing whenever the ball fails to fall her way. Another commenter highlighted a detail that made the moment appear even more questionable, pointing out that only minutes before, Clark had converted a shot directly over Reese despite her strongest defensive effort. That timing made the contact seem less like an accidental hustle moment and more like visible frustration spilling over during the game. Whatever Reese's real intention may have been, supporters felt they were seeing another example of the same pattern that has repeatedly defined this matchup: intense physicality, aggressive play, and actions that appear to come dangerously close to crossing the line of acceptable basketball.
Caitlin Clark is ridiculous, man, and in my opinion, she's the MVP right now. I mean, this performance by her was just insane, and look at this three right away in Angel Reese's face.
The switch on Reese will fire.
It's really obvious that these two do not like.
There is one problem with that kind of physical gamesmanship. It only matters if it actually gives your team some kind of advantage. On this particular night, though, none of it worked in Reese's favor. She could not establish any offensive rhythm during the remainder of the opening half, repeatedly missing close range attempts that she would normally be expected to finish. Her shooting struggles continued throughout the night, beginning with a 0 for 6 start before she ultimately went 5 for 16 from the floor. That was a particularly difficult offensive showing for someone whose reputation has been built around strength, efficiency, and production near the basket. Reese still contributed in other areas, battling for rebounds and ending the game with 14 boards and 6 assists, so she was hardly absent from the stat sheet. But the physical intensity behind that neck contact was doing nothing to produce made baskets. Meanwhile, Clark appeared completely unfazed by the entire situation and simply continued focusing on the job she had come to the court to do.
On a fast break. She sucks from 3. Boom. Whoa. Angel Reese on a layup. Can't score it. She stinks. Look at all these layups missed. The girl is awful. The girl is garbage. Here she comes. I'm going full court. Hey, boom. Get that out of here. She sucks. Here comes Angel Reese coming down the lane again. Uh-oh, spinning and missing another layup. It's missing another layup. Here we go. She's looking for fouls. Here we go, down low. Uh-oh, I'm spinning. I'm missing another layup. The girl is horrible. The girl is terrible at the game. Here we come, coming down the lane. Here we go. I lost it out of bounds. Down low again, another layup opportunity. And she missed it. She's terrible. Here we go for 3. Clank. Here we go. Game on the line. Uh-oh, I can win it. Smoke the layup. Then Naz Hillman follows up and smokes the layup. I mean, you starting to rub off on the other people.
By the time the fourth quarter arrived, the contest had become a full-on fight with every possession carrying serious weight. Atlanta's Alicia Gray was having one of the best scoring performances of her career, ultimately setting a new personal high with 32 points. The Dream refused to let Indiana create any separation, repeatedly answering whenever the Fever looked ready to take control and close the game out. With both teams locked to 81 and only seconds disappearing from the clock, Ryan Howard launched a 3 that caught the front iron and bounced away. Reese battled through traffic with Aliyah Boston right behind her and managed to secure the offensive board despite the intense contact around the play. This was exactly the situation Reese had been trying to create all night. She had the rebound, the opportunity, and the chance to make the physicality count. Now, all she had to do was convert the opportunity without making a mistake.
5 seconds. Howard launches. Missed it badly. Reese the putback. Won't go. Hillman. No. And we have.
But the opportunity slipped away. With Boston pressing tightly against her and almost no room available, Reese attempted a quick putback, but the shot came up short and failed to reach the front of the rim with just 3 seconds remaining. The loose ball fell away once more, forcing Naz Hillman to scramble and keep the possession alive with another attempt near the basket, but Boston recovered quickly and blocked that shot as well. Atlanta had 2 clear opportunities around the rim with the perfect chance to hand Indiana a devastating loss, yet neither attempt found the basket. After all the physical battles Reese had fought through to establish position, the moment that truly mattered arrived with the game hanging in the balance and the final seconds disappearing, and she simply could not complete the play sitting directly in front of her.
Did y'all see that game? That was the greatest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Oh, and it couldn't have happened to a nicer individual. Angel Reese, probably the most despised person in the history of all sports, couldn't get a layup in. She tried the first time, couldn't get it. She tried the second time, couldn't get it. Even her teammates was like, come on, man. The third time at that point, the Indiana Fever just backed off. They're like, nah, come on, girl. I mean, we feel bad. Go ahead. She's like, I'm Jordan. No, I'm not. Meanwhile, mother freaking King Clark was laughing at her. She was like, the camera caught it. They even had to do a double take. She did the moonwalk. She was like, beat it.
This was the moment from the entire night that spread across social media faster than anything else. Reese remained beneath the basket looking stunned, while several teammates gathered around her after the missed opportunity. Then the broadcast shifted toward Clark as she made her way back toward the Fever bench. She was smiling, and it was more than a brief or courteous grin. She actually laughed, appearing entertained by what had just happened right in front of her. Perhaps the reaction came from finally getting through such a tense and physical stretch of basketball. But this was also the point where Indiana could have easily allowed things to unravel, because the contest was nowhere near finished. Neither side could separate itself before regulation expired, leaving the score level and forcing the game into overtime. By then, both teams were visibly exhausted, relying heavily on emotion, adrenaline, and whatever energy they had left to survive the final minutes.
Free throws here for Ryan Howard, is going to resuscitate this game for Atlanta, but Indiana will immediately challenge it. Let's see. Oh.
Only around 10 seconds remained in overtime when Indiana was holding on to a narrow advantage and the officials whistled Clark for a foul, putting Ryan Howard at the line with 3 free throws. Indiana immediately used its challenge, while the commentators covering the matchup openly predicted that the ruling would probably be changed after the replay was examined. The contact appeared questionable and looked like the sort of late-game decision that would normally be overturned after a closer review. But after checking the monitor, the officials decided to leave the original call intact. Howard then walked to the stripe and knocked down all 3 attempts, quickly shrinking Indiana's lead to only 2 points. Suddenly, Atlanta had another opening to steal a game that had seemed almost impossible to lose after failing to finish 2 point-blank opportunities during regulation just moments earlier.
Baby! Yeah! Yeah! I told y'all Caitlin Clark was gonna put on a show versus Angel Reese and show why she's the real MVP. Not no me-bounds, falling everywhere, missing layups everywhere. Angel Reese, your palms were sweaty, knees weak, arms was heavy, was vomit on your jersey already. Mom spaghetti, you're nervous. You look like pure nerd.
Atlanta had to commit a foul right away, hoping to stop the clock and create one final opportunity. The whistle ended up going against Clark, who went to the free throw line with 9.8 seconds still remaining. She calmly converted both shots, restoring a 4-point advantage for Indiana at 95-91. The Dream had one final chance to push the ball up the court and manufacture something before time expired. Earlier in overtime, a debatable foul against Clark had already survived review, briefly giving Atlanta another opening to turn the game around. Indiana had seen nearly every late game break swing against them during that stretch. Yet Clark and the Fever still managed to execute when the result was on the line. That is the detail that stands out as this rivalry continues to develop. The story was not simply Clark producing 26 points and 9 assists while Reese struggled from the field. Indiana also had to deal with difficult officiating decisions, intense physical play, and a genuine late opportunity for Atlanta to steal the victory. But the Fever still left the arena with the outcome they wanted.
Open layup on a fast break is by far one of the most embarrassing things you can do in the sport of basketball. Whether you're in elementary school, middle school, high school, college, professional, WNBA, NBA, it doesn't matter. It's just a terrible look regardless. And then missing a game-winning layup as a big, I'm sorry, you just can't defend some of these things. And I always have Angel Reese's back, but we gotta do better. Yeah, she finished the game with 15 points, 14 boards, and 6 assists. That's an amazing game. But then you look at her splits, she shot 31% from the field. She shot 5 for 16 from the field as a big.
There is another important angle to this entire situation that should not get lost in all the controversy. Both teams are seriously competing for playoff position, meaning these meetings matter for much more than the growing rivalry between them. Atlanta entered the matchup needing a victory to reduce the distance between themselves and the teams ahead of them in the standings, and taking down Indiana would have directly helped their position heading into the later part of the season. Instead, the Dream failed to capitalize when they had their biggest opportunity, while Indiana continued its strong recent run by winning another game. Considering how physical and demanding these matchups have become whenever the teams share the court, it becomes easier to see why this particular contest carried far greater significance than an ordinary game played in the middle portion of the season.
Airballs it right into Angel Reese's lap. And you know what everybody said? Collectively, ain't no fucking way. Ain't no fucking, bricked it. Point blank, with a chance to win the game, bricks it. This is something we see from Angel Reese every single game, brick city. Earlier in the game, we saw Angel Reese matched up against Caitlin Clark on a screen. Caitlin Clark sees Angel Reese. Oh, this is easy. Step back. Hold up. Easy money.
For Reese, this defeat carries more weight than the poor shooting numbers alone suggest. She found herself in the exact situation she would have wanted, grabbing an offensive rebound with the score even and only seconds remaining. Those are the possessions that can define a rivalry and stay remembered long after the final buzzer. Instead of becoming the player who used her physical presence to create the opportunity and then delivered the decisive basket, Reese became the player who battled into position but failed to convert once the game game was there for the taking. Clark, meanwhile, absorbed contact around her neck and never received a whistle for it. In a rivalry that has been surrounded by physical play and controversy ever since these two arrived in the league, the final outcome ultimately came down to what happened around the basket when the pressure was highest. And when that decisive moment arrived, Reese simply could not